New action in the nationwide vaping crisis, it's what it's being called, after the Trump administration said it is considering a ban on all flavored e-cigarettes. States are also cracking down, and New Jersey could become the first one to ban all electronic smoking products, all of them. Many states are now investigating vaping-related illnesses, with more than 450 cases reported and at least 6 deaths. Joining me now is Matthew Myers, president of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, and Paul Blair, director of strategic initiatives at Americans for Tax Reform. Paul, let me give you a chance first to talk about your thinking on this, because I feel like the ban the products side of the debate has gotten a lot of attention. Is there argument against the ban? Go for it.
Absolutely. So first, I want to thank you for having me on. And I want to say that there isn't a day in my work where I don't look at some of the regulatory actions of the Trump administration and think, thank God that he won in November of 2016. What I'll say about the issue of vaping is that there are 13 million American adults who use these products largely to reduce or eliminate their dependence on cigarettes in the United States, which kill 480,000 people every single year. And so there's a political component to this that maybe has been missed by a lot. And some of the polling that we did in 2016 showed that 4 out of 5 of these consumers, adults who use e-cigarettes to quit smoking, are single-issue voters on the issue of where a politician stands on things like banning the products that they're using to save their own lives. And so I think the big political story out of this is that getting this wrong, getting regulation wrong, and going too far may cost Trump the election in 2020.
Wow, that's quite a statement. I hadn't heard that one yet before. But let me get to you, Matt, then. So you believe that there is a significant health risk that you think the Trump administration should address. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're addressing what is a very urgent and important health crisis. And I should say to you, the actual polling is entirely different than what you just heard. First, I think it's important to realize that over the last 2 years, we've seen a 3 million person increase in the number of kids who are using e-cigarettes. It coincides with the introduction of Juul and flavored products. What we're also seeing is that over 1 in 4 high school and middle school kids are using these products, and that a quarter of them or higher are becoming addicted to these products. Using e-cigarettes that deliver high doses of nicotine has long-term consequences for adolescents that are important to understand. It dramatically increases the risk of a lifelong addiction. By 3 times, it increases the risk they'll go on to smoking. And we know that delivering high levels of nicotine to an adolescent brain, which is still developing, has harmful effects. This is one of those issues, however, where the Trump administration is right in line with public sentiment. A recent poll shows that approximately 60% of all Americans ban the sale of flavored e-cigarettes because it's those products that are fueling the youth epidemic. What was interesting about the poll, and very interesting and unusual, it cut across political grounds. It had majority support among both Democrats and Republicans.
I've seen that. I just wonder, though, Paul, is prohibiting a product from adults buying it, youth aren't supposed to be able to get it anyway, going to cause more problems in terms of counterfeit products or the black market, because kids do things like kids will do, but does that hurt other people? And I don't know if popularity is a reason to change policy.
Absolutely. And look, prohibition has never worked. It didn't work with alcohol in the 1920s. It hasn't worked with marijuana in the United States. And I don't have an example in the United States where teens are simply not going to experiment with products because the government says that they're illegal. And it is the black market. It is THC. It is marijuana on the black market that in many of the cases where we've seen dramatic stories about illnesses or death around vaping, that is the culprit. It's not nicotine. It's not the e-cigarettes that we're led to believe the Trump administration is targeting, the ones that are commercially available in convenience stores and vape shops, 10,000 of which are across the United States. And so what the question is whether youth experimentation with products that are 95 to 99% less harmful than cigarettes, according to Public Health England and the Royal College of Physicians, should lead us to limit the adult choices of smokers who are using these products to quit a known deadly addiction to cigarettes.
Let me ask one last quick question to Matt here. Do you think, sir, that the previous administration made a mistake in not stopping this from coming to market in the first place?
Well, first, understand we're not talking about prohibition. We're talking about eliminating the products that are fueling the youth epidemic. Before Juul transformed the market, the largest single sale of e-cigarettes was tobacco flavored. That's going to be allowed. Anybody who's using as an adult an e-cigarette to quit, will still have tobacco-flavored products to do it.
But
it
adults
was the
like
single
flavors,
largest
and
seller.
that's the
wait a
question.
second. And let me finish my thing. Until Juul transformed it by introducing mango and mint. There is a reason that public health officials in the United States, both parties, both administrations, the Food and Drug Administration, the CDC, as well as the Surgeon
Matt, I'm
General,
sorry,
have
I've got to
all
wrap it up
concluded
here. But a fascinating
Yeah.
discussion. Two people feeling passionate about it. Thank you so much for your expertise, Matthew Myers and Paul Blair. We'll have you back. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.